Hello, welcome. Thank you for tuning in today. We're going to be discussing Sassy, my female red Argentine Tegu. Through the years, through the last year, maybe last year and a half, I have started to develop to have issues with her shedding. And I've been paying a lot of attention and doing a lot of research and trying a lot of different things to help her and studying kind of their environment that they came from in Argentina, South Argentina, and trying to figure out what Sassy's deal is and what she needs. And so what I have come up with through like 3 years now of owning her, what I've come up with that I think that is helped her to shed, because just this year, this is 2024, I have had really good luck with her shedding coming off and not taking as much work. I think at the beginning of this year, I did have to try to use some Shed-Ease and some other things, but if you go back and you watch some of my videos, and it's also good for me to mention, I have like 170 plus videos on these Tegus that I've owned for 3 years, bought them as babies, and I've been raising them for the 3 years. And so you learn and you figure some things out after doing, owning, and the trials and the different tribulations that you go through with ownership of these wonderful creatures. But let me just share with you what I have found out and what I think is the major advancement that I've come up with, and it has to do with diet. Very important, what they eat has a lot to do with how they grow up and how they function. And so with Sassy, when Sassy was young, I fed her a lot of insects. It was just very easy to go get insects and feed them to her. So I fed her a lot of crickets, not just simple, crickets, but crickets that I fed, that I gut loaded is what the term is. And I fed them fresh fruit and lettuce and things of that nature, and gave them pet store bought elements that gave them their water, but that's the little gel caps or liquid that the crickets drink, because they need a lot of refreshment and food to preserve the crickets. And I usually just she's going into her little underground burrow. I used to feed her a lot of crickets, and now in 2024 I have started feeding Sassy a lot more insects. I went away from feeding her insects when she grew up, when about a year to a year and a half old. And then I got away from giving her insects because she grew bigger, and Mac, who is in the burrow with her down there, he doesn't have the ability to pick them up off the ground as easy. So I just stopped feeding them the insects. And so I put two and two together, and then I started feeding her more insects, and to try it out and see if that's what it was. I bought a hibiscus plant about a year ago, and I raised that plant. It's a very beautiful plant, but I also spend a lot of time with it. I just like plants in general. But I take the hibiscus flowers, because reptiles can eat the hibiscus flowers. Turtles and a lot of different reptiles really enjoy hibiscus. Plus, it's antioxidants. It's a lot of nutrients in plants that reptiles can get from plants, instead of kale and things that we go to the grocery store, because Tegus out in the wild can't just walk into the grocery store, obviously, and buy kale and the other things that all the reptile experts, so-called reptile experts, say you need to feed your Tegu. They just don't get those in the wild. So what they do eat in the wild is nuts, berries, and flowers. And so, perfect example of a flower. And these actually will have nectar. And I never knew that the hibiscus flower produces nectar, and that's like a sugary, substance that draws creatures in to eat it for the nectar. Otherwise, a flower does not taste very appetizing, but the nectar does. And so these have nectar on them, and that may be one aspect that helps the lizards to want to eat these. And I will actually put honey, a little bit of honey on mine to even increase the chances that they want to eat that. And tegus love honey, so you put a little bit of honey on that, these just get scarfed down. But here I have my giant mealworms. These are the bigger version of the little smaller mealworms, and you can actually, I put them in a little bit bigger container, and this is where I'll feed them and give them the same cricket little pellets that have the moisture in it, or the gelatin, and they eat that up like it's going out of style, and it hydrates them and gives them their nutrients and vitamins that's in that commercially based cricket gelatin that helps give them their nutrients. It's kind of gut loading. I gut load mine. I don't have fruit right now, but I'll usually put fruit in there, and these large mealworms will just consume that fruit up within hours. And there's about maybe 10 more under here. This is just some dirt along with their sawdust material that comes in their packaging that you get. But these are very, very good for the tegus. Some people will say, Brian, those are the worst you can give. But I've done my research, and I know that these, for pound per pound or ounce per ounce or whatever measurement for something this small, means these get a lot of nutrients, and they don't have a lot of the hard outer part of the body that is not a lot of nutrients that some insects offer. But so Sassy gets these, gets the flowers, and then also too gets crickets that are gut loaded. Here are these giant earthworms, and I buy these at PetSmart, so they're pet grade quality. And you're not going to introduce anything harmful to your tegus or lizards or anything that eats. I guess people will feed these to fish too, Oscars and things, and so maybe that's why more PetSmart carries these worms, because a lot of people don't know that you can get these Canadian raised worms from PetSmart, and so they're going to get all these insects, and you'll see Sassy loves insects, and I've shown this on past videos how much Sassy loves to eat insects. And again, so we're going to feed Sassy now, and you're going to watch her just gobble this stuff up. And anything that helps your tegu to shed if you're having difficulties, and a lot of people with red tegus report having difficulties, and it's even to the point that some people give up their tegus because the tegus are kind of suffering because they can't shed, and the people are losing hope in being able to properly take care of them, and they give them up to more experienced tegu owners, or maybe even contact the person that sold them the tegu and have the person take the tegu back that sold it to them, so that hopefully they can get better care to that tegu, because a tegu with stuck shed is not a good situation, and it's not good for the animal, and it's probably very, very uncomfortable for the animal. But I'm going to try to get Sassy out, and we're going to feed her real quick, and I'm going to show you how wonderful she is and how much she enjoys her insects. Let me just add this to the video. Holding a camera and looking through the viewfinder of the camera and then trying to focus on a little moving subject, it really makes it a little bit more difficult to do. Plus, you're trying to speak and your brain's trying to think about 3 things at once, so it's always just a little bit more difficult to make these videos. So just bear with me. Sometimes it gets tough, and it seems the older you get, or the older I get, a little bit more difficult. I have a little bit more difficulty doing all this, and then pronouncing your words clearly while you're trying to focus on things. Well, here comes Sassy out now. I got another piece of chicken gizzard for her to eat, but now we're going to let her eat the insects now that I have her back. Load the camera up. That's her little basking platform. Hers, when I say hers and Max, So let's start out. Let's give her an earthworm. And they're actually, you keep these in the refrigerator so they're cold. So she may touch that and be like, ooh, it's cold. But she is really, really good at eating. These are the giant mealworms, and not getting the name of these right there's coming to my brain. It's right there below you, Sassy. These are the bigger versions. Last time I fed, I got a pack of 100 of these, and I didn't feed them to her all at once, but over 2 weeks maybe I fed her 100 of these larger mealworms, and so she'll get. I'd probably give her 8 of those a day, and along with maybe 2 of the large earthworms. And I try to do this. I'm going to try to do this often. I'm going to try to do this once or twice a week and stick with this, because it really made her shedding. Last time I shot a still picture, I was in Galveston, and she just shed all on her own, and that was a beautiful sight. I almost didn't even have to touch the skin to have it come off. It almost just came off all on its own. A little bit on her tail stays, but that's usually more normal for tegus. They have just tend to keep a little bit more of that tail skin on. Maybe their tail doesn't grow as fast as the rest of their body, and their legs and their little toes and their head. But I think that's everything that I want to give Sassy today. Maybe one more worm, and let's give her one more worm. Oh, Sassy, this is my hand. Just get the worm. You're gonna drop it. Here's her hibiscus flower. I'll get my fingers, Sassy. Also going to turn on her high power heat lamp, 250 watts. It's a heat light bulb specifically for maybe putting in your bathroom or even food warming at a restaurant. And it was like $4.99, or probably closer to $7 or $8 now. The price of everything has gone way up on everything. But that's a cheap bulb compared to a $20 reptile bulb that's 100 watts. That puts out a lot of heat, and heats her up in about 30 minutes, and then she doesn't want any more heat, and she goes away from the light. But that gets her up the internal body temperature up pretty quickly. Heats up that ceramic pad that she's sitting on, and heats her from the bottom and the top, and they tend to enjoy that, but again, just for a short amount of time. And then when they exit that light, I turn that light off so that the whole cage doesn't get too hot. I try to keep the temps between about 85 to about 88 degrees in this cage, and that is plenty warm. Never want to have the cage at 90 and above. That's really too warm for the tegus, and then they can't get away from the heat. Kevin at Nerd has said that these tegus like their temperature. He's extremely knowledgeable. That the tegus like to be about 78 degrees up to about 84 degrees. That's the temperature that they like. And then their basking temperature can be warmer, but in nature, then they want to get away from that. They have a lot of places they can go to escape the heat and get out of the heat. So there you go. I also just buy bags of crickets from the pet store and release a bag of 25 into this cage. Kind of hard to see. There's little crickets running around, and the tegus can actually, go dig for them and go look for them. As you can see, under this log here, when I pick this up, there's going to be some crickets underneath it. And the crickets will go out and walk around, and then the tegu, particularly Sassy, will go and scoop them up and eat them. And it kind of gives her something to look for and gives her a little bit of mental stimulation. She'll go around and pry and poke around to see if she can find crickets. So we may see her go over here and eat these crickets. Oh, there we go. Look, right there on camera, video. Look, Sassy, you missed one. All right, there she goes. Sits on her hot plate, spreads out her little arms, flattens out. It's so cute. All right, well, that's my video. You may want to start feeding, if you're having a red tegu, it may be red tegu related, very specific to them. Like I said, my black and white Argentine tegu does not have nearly the difficulty shedding that my red tegu, my female here, does. Seeing this and experiencing it firsthand and troubleshooting this for 2 years, and seeing the results from everything that I try, I think has a lot to do with the nutrients that these tegus get from the insects. And part of that, their diet, a lot of it has to do with their ability to shed. So there you go. Take what you want from this and give it a shot if you want to try it. And catch me on future videos. All right. Thanks for tuning in today. Have a great day, and bye-bye.